Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Matthew 10:34. What do you think that means out there, ladies and gentlemen? Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. What is the opposite of peace, if not war? In Ephesians 6:12, we hear, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." We're not just up against humans, ladies and gentlemen. We're up against demons, and they are legion. They are a hive mind. They are a disease that has plagued humanity. That is what we're at war against. We're not at war against people. We're not at war against democrats. We're at war against this beast system. We're at war against New Babylon. We're at war against the demons out there. And truly, they are legion. They have infiltrated the entire system. The government, the churches, the media, entertainment, sports, you name it. If they're on television, they're demonic. Pretty much guaranteed. And nobody out there should be cheering for the people you see on television. Nobody out there should be cheering for the beast system that's rolling out these death hours as we speak, and what a nightmare it's going to be. Now, we see the steady progression in the Gospels from the Beatitudes, the Sermon on the Mount, to something, quite more aggressive, you can say, in Matthew 10:34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. In Matthew 18, Peter asks Jesus, "How many times should I forgive my brother? 7 times? And Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. That's 490 times for those that are a little deficient in math. There is a limit. In Matthew 5:22, shortly after the Beatitudes, but I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. What is the cause, ladies and gentlemen? Those that would run afoul, run against what's in the Bible. Those that would be of the dark side, the Luciferian cult, the synagogue of Satan, if you will. But this has been translated and has evolved with time to be every church, every institution, everything that's part of the secular world. You see many people out there just focusing on the Jews. The devil's in your neighborhood. The devil's in your household. That's what it says in Matthew 10, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be every Christian out there pretty much for themselves fighting this system, and you're surrounded by the dark side. It's better that you hear it, for what it is, ladies and gentlemen. And most people out there in your entourage are there to stab you in the back. They're part of this matrix. They're just waiting for the opportunity. The devil always waits for your weakest moments, because that's when it's most effective, ladies and gentlemen. And we're called to wear the full armor. In Ephesians 6:13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, to persevere, to never give up. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, truth and righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. That is your foundation. That's what you stand upon. That is your rock. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Darwinism, the Santa Claus, devolution. Leave doubt behind, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation. Hope. That's the helmet of salvation. Always keep hope with you. And the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. ladies and gentlemen. That's the sword we should be using the most. We're not called to be complacent. We're not called just to be here to be tortured, ladies and gentlemen. There are limits, and it's right there in the Bible. How many times shall we forgive our brothers? 7 times 70. Do not hate your brother without a cause, in Matthew 5:22. And of course, we are called to love our brother, to love our neighbor. The question is, who is our neighbor? This is answered quite sternly in Luke 10:25-37, in the story of the Good Samaritan, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll remember that as he journeyed, he came across somebody that had been beaten, left for dead on the side of the road. And he took care of that guy. And Jesus asks, which of these 3 thinketh thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do thou likewise. Be that neighbor, be that guy. That's who's your neighbor. But people that aren't like that, that's not your neighbor. Are you called to love the people that aren't your neighbor? I think that's a real interesting argument. We certainly are called to love our enemies, to bless those that curse us, to do good to those that hate us, to pray for those that would despitefully use us and persecute us. For we're all God's children. And he maketh the sun rise on the evil and on the good. And so imagine you had 5, 10 kids and you had a couple rotten ones. Would you love them any less? That certainly is the problem that we're up against. And we're called to love the sinner, but hate the sin. And what is the root of all sin? What is the root of evil? It's this demonic, army from the underworld, from hell, these demons, the devil, the legion. That's what we're up against. That's what we're called to fight against. And by eliminating the darkness, we can win this war. And the only way to beat darkness is with light. And truly that's what we're called to do, is to spread the light. That's why they're censoring you. That's why, they're trying to dismiss you as, some kind of hater or some kind of Russian bot and the like. But, you look at the Russians, they're not having any of this Sodom and Gomorrah either. And this is why they're the enemy of this deep state, ladies and gentlemen. And this deep state truly is the enemy of Christianity. It's the enemy of we the people. Their standards, their regulations, their laws, and the like are really meant to, kill you. These people are the enemy. And as illegal as that might sound, it's right there in our Constitution. If this system ever gets out of control, we're called to 1776. And when you look at, the current situation, ladies and gentlemen, you can certainly see the end game of the enemy, the Skynet, the assimilation, the Terminators, the AI, the brain chips, the Matrix, the works. That's what's coming for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're called to fight back, to push back against this system. As Americans, as Christians, we must rise against this tyranny and, put an end to it before they put an end to us. And, when you look at, these passages in the Bible, we're not called to just, be exterminated. We're not called to commit suicide. We're called to persevere to the very end, to carry our cross. And, we're called to, get a sword, sell our cloak and get a sword. We're not here as, perpetual peacemakers. And while, that certainly is the first, role that we should play. Ultimately, there are limits to what we're supposed to do here. And when you look at what these people have done, they are perpetually, genociding you. They're coming into your home, poisoning your food, your water. They're irradiating you and the like. They're brainwashing you, grooming your children and the like. They've surpassed the 7 times 70, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. Probably the first year, after we were born, they were already way past the 7 times 70 limit. We're definitely called to fight back, to push back. We're not here just to, grab our ankles and worship the state. That is not our call here. And I think it's important that we're all reminded of that. And it's right there in the Bible. And while, some people out there are calling you to grab your ankles and to worship the system, they're teaching their doctrine, and, we're promoting the Bible. So have a look at Matthew 10:34. Have a look at Ephesians 6:13. Have a look at Matthew 5, a very important chapter in the Bible. That certainly is your foundation. Don't forget about the 10 Commandments. Don't forget about what you're called to do and who you're supposed to be. But, in the Bible, there have been crusades. There have been wars against evil. And that's certainly, where we find ourselves right now, right in the middle of a war between good and evil. And, people have to pick their side and act accordingly. And, you can believe the television if you want to, but they're just promoting, the fake news from the dark side. It's like basically watching the Twilight Zone every time you turn on network television. That's who they are. Don't expect anything different. Don't start repeating what they say. Don't worship these people on television. They're not your friends. These are agents of the dark side. They're part of this matrix. They're part of this control grid. And, they're fighting amongst each other on television so that you'll get involved and pick a side. And as soon as you get involved into their game, they've got you exactly where they want you. So, don't be a mark out there. Get smart and understand the dynamics of this battlefield. It's not about politics. It's about religion. Pay attention to, what the television is promoting out there. It's non-stop product placement for the dark side. And these people are out to exterminate you. And, these death towers are, proof of that, as well as the fluoride in the water, the vaccines, the eugenics programs, the pesticides, the homicide, the fluoride, etc. On and on we could go. And these things are, worse than you can possibly imagine. Cancer rates have quadrupled since the 1950s, and it's become, a leading killer in most countries. And this is the eugenics program. This is the proof, that you've been looking for, as well as the Georgia Guidestones and the like, the Skull and Bones, the Bohemian Grove, 9/11 was an inside job, etc., etc. They want to suck out all of our patriots and, throw them into these endless wars. Ladies and gentlemen, PTSD is free, with this beast system. But if you're going to fight a fight, if you're going to fight for what's right, then, it's not out there in the desert, for oil, for fossil fuels. It's, it's fighting for our way of life. And, people that were born, after after 9/11, they didn't know the free world. They didn't know the America we grew up in. Now they're just part of the experiment. They're part of the program. And, this system has failed them, has victimized them, and now they're agents for this matrix. We'll leave it there for this broadcast. Like and share. Feel free to mirror. Check out our website, stfnreport.com, and be sure to read the Bible. Merry Christmas out there. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.